Nature is pretty cool, right? People like trees and flowers and whatever else is in with the kids these days. Nature is colorful and pretty, and it's basically everywhere. Walk outside and you can find yourself bathed in its endless beauty. And it's important, too. Plants give us oxygen, we rely on animals for food, and lots of other useful stuff comes from nature, right? Well, not exactly. Truth be told, while it may be pretty, nature harms us more than it helps us.
Now, I know some of you might be thinking, how does nature hurt us? Well, it's less nature actively hurting us and more how we approach nature that hurts us. Let me explain.
Nature is sort of just sitting there. You might not think that there's much empty land left in America, but the federal government owns 655 million acres, around 29% of the country. Of those, 262 million acres are already used for economic development, which is a lot of progress in the right direction. That leaves right around 400 million acres untapped land, what you and I would think of as nature. Of that, let's say 100 million acres is unusable for one reason or another, terrain or climate or something like that. So what we have left is a solid 300 million acres of usable land just sitting there.
Now, you might be wondering, what are we supposed to do with all that land? Well, the average American factory takes up about 1,500 acres and employs right around 2,000 people. Now, I don't have a calculator on me, but I did the math earlier, and that's just over one person working every acre, which seems like a pretty good average across every industry, once you take into account the fact that there are more people today that work in cities than do on farms. So, if you take our 300 million acres number, subtract 50 million acres for housing, and multiply that by the number of people working on every acre that we found,
And we could give some 330 million Americans a job and a place to live. That's right around the entire population of the country today. Think about that for a moment. We have the ability to, within our borders, reasonably support a nearly doubled population without any additional crowding. We have the ability to put America back to work for generations to come. We have the ability to return manufacturing to America and build American products in American factories. We have the ability to give every homeless man, woman, and child in America a place to live and a job bettering our nation today. We have the ability to provide cheap oil and natural gas and slash the national debt and strengthen our GDP permanently. The economic implications are huge. Now, we wouldn't develop all the land immediately. Congress and the EPA have already taken important preliminary steps by cutting funding to the National Park Service and other similar programs, as well as by rejecting foolish environmental regulation bills. But any project of this scale takes time. By remaining vigilant against those who have forgotten the importance of helping one another and simply deregulating what businesses can and cannot do regarding the environment, over time, we'll see our country's strength grow once again. On the other hand, serious harm will come if we let eco-nuts prevent us from doing what is right for our country and for each other.
Environmental regulations already harm industries like coal and oil, and American livelihoods have been destroyed due to bans on offshore drilling and Arctic pipelines. Meanwhile, every day that we waste, billions of dollars bleed out of the American economy, and Americans like you and me are forced to pay too much for power and gas as companies are made to research environmentally friendly alternatives. But what we have today works just fine.
so please, before you write a letter to your senator, or recycle, or compost, or even talk about saving the environment, think about the money. Think about the companies and the jobs, and remember the money that's already been lost. And make the right decision.
Oops. Okay, that's not good. Okay. We have a very professional setup here at... Oh, no, not again. Like I was saying, very professional setup. I'm talking to myself. I am talking to myself right now. I feel crazy, but eventually some of this is gonna end up... God. I'll edit that out. Okay. Again, that's very bad. Okay. Wow. That's the side of my car. I'm not touching the camera because I'm a safe driver. I just don't understand friction at all and why science happens. We're turning again. Those are turns. And we have a view of a different column.
I'm going to turn right again. Honestly, I don't think anything worse can happen to my positioning, because it's literally all the way up at the side of the car. Oh, it's moving. It's moving. It's coming home. Come home, camera. I miss you. Your family misses you. Well, I just dropped the camera. This is gonna be one stupid blooper reel. Good news, I parked. Good news. This is exciting. Can you hear any of this? Like, really?